There's always so much you can do with a sandbox game. Like, for example, I may have found a way to make an even faster plane than ever before. This is the cockpit, and this is a rocket engine. There will be a little bit of drag on that, but that literally is actually all you need. But doesn't it look like fun? Imagine how fast it would be. So it weighs 2. It weighs 2, it has a thrust of 80, so that's a 40-to-1 thrust ratio. It also doesn't have wheels, it doesn't have wings, it doesn't have a lot of anything, including thought behind it, but you press a little bit of space and we can take ourselves up until that point. So let's try the launch again. We just gotta find the sweet spot. There it is. And we're up and moving. An engine and a cockpit. Now, given that it doesn't have wings or anything at all, it's not very easy to control. Like, I'm trying to descend as quickly as possible right now. Oh, we're starting to do it, and then you gotta start pulling up again. Otherwise, we're gonna hit the ground at 6,900. Yeah, it turns out planes don't fly very good without wings. But for now, I want to let it cruise even slightly uphill to see what speed it hits. So we're coming back down to the earth really quickly. I didn't actually catch the speed. It's hard when you're going this quick because if the plane starts to descend, it hits the ground really quickly no matter how far from the ground it actually is. We've officially broken a speed of 9,000, already 9,100. The game is starting to lag pretty hard. Our altitude is dropping, but that just means our speed is going up. All I want to see right now is speed hit 9,999. I see the ground. We gotta pull up just a little bit. We're so close to 10,000. Man, I can't have anything nice. So off with the big engine, on with the little engine. Yeah, just like that, except for not. I mean, with a little cheesing it, we can actually put it directly back. So there should be actually no drag at all, really. And because of the thrust on this and our reduced weight from a smaller engine, our thrust to weight ratio is actually 54-to-1 now. Our last one was 40-to-1, so this is almost 50% improved, and it looks better. And it's got a built-in seat warmer, so the pilot will enjoy that. Hopefully it takes off. Oh, it takes off. It took off into the sky as soon as I asked it to. Well, we hit a speed of 7,000 and it's still going up very quickly, even at a massive climb. Okay, speed is officially just wrapped over. That was 10,000 already and it's still climbing. There is another cockpit that might be more aerodynamic and like more pointy on the front, but I think it actually weighs more. I don't know if it would make a difference to swap it out. But this thing is so fast that reality is starting to disintegrate, but we're coming up at almost 17,000 speed. We're finally losing altitude. The thing is really starting to disintegrate, but speed is over. 18,100, now 18,200. I don't know what's going to give up first, the plane or the game, but it is looking pretty rough. We've broken 9,000 and we're about to loop around 20,000. I didn't think it would be possible to make something this quick, and it's so beautiful. We're dropping elevation very quickly, so we are going to find the ground rather abruptly, but we're up to almost 21,000. Altitude is, we're pointed straight down like a missile. I think we're getting close. There's the ground. I think we're at 21,000, so we've already exceeded our expectations. So a jet engine weighs 1 and it gives 65 thrust. So if I add another one, that would double our thrust to 130. Given that it weighs 2.2 pounds, it has a thrust to weight ratio of 61.36, so it has actually even a little bit more thrust. And adding engines from there because of the added weight actually makes it go backwards. So as far as I can figure out, this should be as fast as you could possibly make it. It has no drag, no possible added weight, and a maximum thrust to weight ratio. And it feels like it. It really only takes a few seconds before it breaks 8,000. And it still looks so nice. Oh, I found the map so we can see our old trajectories of where we've gone. So it's gonna maybe take a while to find us. There we go. So this is zoomed out as far as I can on the map. And watch how fast we're gonna cross it. We're here and we're off the map. We're already about to hit 20,000 speed as well. And it's not too caramelized yet. I see the ground coming up. We hit almost 22,000. But I think that's as fast as we can do it, short of something really breaking the game. Okay, so let's make a big plane. This, I believe, is the biggest cockpit compared to like one of the starter cockpits. You can see the difference. It's quite a big one. Plus, it's got eyeliner on. So then from there, you obviously want a fuselage, and we're going to make a long one. We have unlimited resources, so we might as well enjoy them. How big is a real plane? Probably twice this size. So we take one of these, and then we make it a little bit fatter, so it's shaped like a bullet. Probably. Now we're going to need a lot of lift for this to overcome the massive weight and size. The big wings have a lift of 90. So once we get about 6,000 of those slapped on there, the plane should be able to leave the ground. And no, they don't all have to be aligned. They probably work better if they're not. I suddenly realized I'm just building a centipede. And that should do it. I don't actually want a tail wing because I don't care. I suspect we're going to need quite a bit of thrust to get this bird in the air, so we're going to add 2 engines to every set of wings, so like 6,000. Maybe if they're in line, like one will output its air and the next one will suck it in at super speed to have like a supercharged reaction. I don't know how many that is. It's probably easy to count, but I can't be bothered. So we're probably going to need some wheels. Oh, this thing weighs 625. But it's got 4,000 cargo space, so it's obviously worth it. We're going to put the wheels there. The front wheels need to be higher than the rear wheels. I remember that from pilot training. I just remembered they actually probably work better attached to the wings, but I've come too far to bother. There we are, one perfectly designed plane. I think I forgot a set of wheels, but we got spares as it is. Will it fly? I'd say chances 50-50. Okay, the wheels are actually supporting it so far. I kind of worried it would just explode. Okay, so, wow, okay, it's very loud, but it flies. It took off almost immediately. All the wings and lift. We can flap like a beautiful bird. Flying has never felt so right. So despite its enormous size and weight, it flew really, really easily thanks to all of the lift. And the funniest part is, it handles like a fighter jet. Like I can turn this thing and just fly anywhere I want so nimbly. But what's the big red thing? Wait, what? Why is there a big red thing on the ground? What is that? Did I just find an Easter egg? What is that? We're gonna come in real low for a look. What? Is it a mushroom? Some kind of Easter egg. Anyways, this plane flew way too well. So I decided to touch the fuselage a little bit to see if I could pull it up a little bit, and it turns out I can. There's going to be some drag up front in a pretty major way, but I think we got the power to overcome that. The weight jumped up to 826, and you can square it from there. I bet you've never seen a square airplane before. I can tell the game doesn't love this because it's not really reacting to the controls properly. The other side did it. This one, oh, we got to go the other way for some reason. Oh, never mind. There we go. It's beautiful. I am going to leave the booty of the plane nice and round. It just wouldn't make sense otherwise. Before doing anything with the flying brick, I need to see if it flies first. Okay, the extra drag didn't affect it too badly. We still have lots of lift and maneuverability. The drag is sort of holding us back though, but we're flying very slow. Do you think we could do a full loop-de-loop? We might be able to with this plane. Well, it sort of oriented itself like that. That's like asking my dog to roll over. It just won't do it. Okay, but this is getting fun. That drag up front is nice because it slows us down, which curiously can be a good thing. So let's add an extra engine to every wing, and that'll look something like that. And then my wings weren't wingy enough, so we're going to add wings to our wings, which is actually surprisingly hard to do because you got to be really fine with where they want to snap on for some reason. And now we have the planiest plane that there ever was. It also weighs 1,120. At some point, those wheels are probably going to give up. The game rendered in a little bit slowly on this one. Oh, the game does not love this. But I sure do. We're gonna flap into the sky one more time. So even with its incredible like weight and size and stuff, we can actually fly at like 60 comfortably. Thanks to all the wings. The game is so reactive to everything I do because it's lagging so hard. I've really missed taking my creative liberties. Oh, we actually touched down on a mountain there accidentally and didn't explode because my plane is so amazing. This is maybe asking a lot, but can we get one more set of wings wide? Or do we think that's going to jam up on a tower? Although if we have enough wings, we can actually take off before the tower. Ooh, yeah, we can still get wider. So now I get the amazing task of attaching another 64 wings to this thing, somehow. It actually looks better the more wings that go on it. It's getting heavy. The game is lagging just a touch, but it takes off quickly. A little bit hard to correct, but I think we're about leveled out now. So the one thing I take away from this so far is that we put way too many wheels on it first. We clearly could support the weight. Oh, speaking of wheels, I should probably retract those. It is so hard to fly this. Anytime I touch anything, the game has a seizure. We don't need cargo ships anymore. Just add extra wings to planes and they become cargo ships of the sky. Well, I mean, you know what to do from here. More wings. We haven't added any engines in a while, but I don't think it's necessary. We got so much lift that we really need relatively little thrust to get it into the air. Flying it, on the other hand, is another story because we get like 6 frames per second. I feel like the game is close to giving up, but I thought that a while ago too. Well, do we think 2 more layers of wings will finish it off? I mean, it looks good, but will the game love it? It loaded in, so I actually have lots of faith in this. Jets are on, we are full upwards. The wings might touch the ground on the way up, but that just helps get us into the air quicker. Okay, we're going to try and retract the wheels this time, and we're flying. We're getting very few frames, but we're in the air. I'm actually mostly just really impressed with the game at this point. I've added another 4, maybe 5 layers of wings. Very neatly, the wings at the back actually make a full circle when they follow their own angle. The rest of them we had to improvise a little bit because they start to touch and overlap and they don't want to combine for some reason. But overall, we got a nice looking plane. Question number 1, will it render in? Okay, not really a big deal actually. Question 2, will we be able to take off or will the game implode? I'm waiting, the throttle should be full. Taking a few seconds to get there. And something's happening. We're moving. We are flying. We're off the ground, technically. I think we are. We're only getting a few frames per 10 minutes here, but we're doing something. Oh, our wings. They're clipping the buildings and stuff. So we're not really flying yet. Maybe we'll get there. I believe. So obviously we've run into a thrust problem. If we add double the amount of engines, that should take care of it. Well, that was fairly painful, but we got it. Double the amount of engines, double the amount of fun. And I bet it's just going to fly oh so gracefully. Let's see if we can get the throttle up and get this thing into the air this time. The wings might actually be immediately touching the sheds over there. The game might have died. No, we're good. Okay, don't touch anything. Try and get this thing to go into the air. Don't know why we went upside down there. My hands are literally off the controls aside from thrust. Oh, we might be doing it. If we clear the tower on the left, I think we're good. Not sure what the gray thing was. I think maybe because our plane is so long, the camera actually tipped back into the pavement. But we're flying, albeit very, very slowly, both in physical speed and just frame rate, but we're in the air. As far as I can tell, even at full speed, we're going 39. But we have lots of lift. We could probably fly straight vertically with all these wings. It's been all this time and we're barely past the end of the runway. But I'm going to do us all a favor and make that go away forever. I might have soft locked. Nope, there it goes. I was worried we soft locked again. Even the building screen takes a little time to load in. Not sure what we can do about that. Before making this go away, we are going to name it accordingly and save it forever. So we've determined that planes with lots of wings fly well. What about planes with lots of cockpits? Why am I allowed to do this? What is this? I don't actually know. I assume that end is the front. But I'm really curious actually to fly this. I guess just in case we need to turn and go back the other direction, we'll have that option. I'm sorry, let me add some lift to our creation. This feels wrong. Well, we lost our wings already. Oh, no, we're good though. I meant cockpits like in a line when I wanted to start this. I did get a little bit curious when I saw we were able to slap them in that direction, which actually sort of gives me more ideas again, unfortunately. Okay, well, for now, I'm just going to add more fuselages and put some cockpits on those. I think so long as you can add fuselages, you can add more cockpits. So we will fight with the game as long as we can to make that work. Oh, this would be such a fun airline. Every passenger gets their own cockpit and they get to like vote how the plane flies and where it goes. The majority rules. Okay, so do you put the engines on top then? Probably. Even the wings, they don't really want to get in the way of the cockpits probably. So let's throw them up top. And I don't think we need wheels because we're not going to get a lot of friction on the ground, I think. The plane bodies are probably quite slippery. We don't actually, yeah, there we go. We do have the lift to get up. It's such a contrast from the last plane. Okay, so multiple cockpits actually worked pretty well so far. At least with 5 of them. It's the next 10 really that are going to be the big question. I think we will give it some retractable wheels just to help it actually like move. The engines, I think I'm actually going to move to the back of some of these. I think that's just going to look and feel better. Plus, less drag. Then we just got to reattach some wings somewhere, but we got so many choices of where to bolt these things on, it's actually hard to pick. Yeah. That looks like something we'd have nightmares about. And it only weighs 133. So it moves along pretty well. It does fly. The game is actually perfectly fine with this so far, but we don't have nearly as many parts as we did on our previous plane. And the best part is nobody will know where the pilots are. Okay, well, let's see how stupid we can make this. Oh, the wheels are also collapsing, but that's no surprise. We'll just throw a few more of those pretty much anywhere. It doesn't matter. Planes fly, they don't drive. Oh, I think I put on the wrong kind of wheels before. That's probably part of the problem. They're supposed to be those big fat ones. There we go. Wheels for days. The game kind of makes you place the next fuselage set back a little bit. I could bring them forward, but I think this is obviously more aerodynamic. So then we get a nice lineup of cockpits. Probably lots of drag. Not as much as I thought, but that's going to add up. The solution to drag is more horsepower, or I guess in the aviation world, thrust. I suspect we're probably going to need a few wings. We're just going to throw in the big wings because we'll get the most lift for the fewest wings. Not sure if that makes sense right now, but I'm getting a little bit tired, so we're just going to go for it. Fatigue breeds innovation and creativity after all. Yep, that'll work. The wheels are holding up too. That's fantastic. All right, it is taking off. Once it gets into the air, it's quite mobile. The game is not lagging, but the plane is more wide than it is long. It might be the length that it struggles with. In a way, I am actually kind of sad at how well this one flies. I thought it would be more of a disaster. It doesn't look very good or healthy. But maybe this is the future of aviation after all. I wanted to see if I could make something really, really fast that wasn't technically a plane, like in that it won't leave the ground. After much adjusting and pulling on things, I've landed on sort of this design which basically floats on the ground and narrows to a point at either end. But this is the first one I built that won't automatically leave the ground and go crazy. It sticks right to the ground and goes quite quickly. So we could definitely see how fast we can make something for land speed. Not that this one's bad, it's coming up on 2500 already. Acceleration is slowing down around 2700. So we'll see if there's anything we can do to make it quicker, and I suspect just by shortening it, probably. That brought it from a weight of 12 down to 7.1, so let's see if we can do that even more. We're not allowed to put the wheels just anywhere as it turns out. We want to put them nice and low. Maybe just a touch lower if we can. I really want the thing to actually be off the ground. I'm not sure if it matters. And then let's tuck the weight in just a little more. There we go, at about half the weight we just were. We'll see if it stays on the ground. So off we go. So far so good. It might be hovering a touch on the back. I don't think it's actually using the wheels at this point, but it is fast. I don't think the game factors in ground friction, but it is a game about planes, so that would probably make sense. We have already beaten our speed record though, because we're already at 3600. It spontaneously blew up at that point. Not sure which part of it let go. Might have actually been the wheels. Although the wheels can let go and it's generally not a problem. So let's take those off entirely and see. I guess this isn't technically a ground vehicle anymore. Nope, it takes off immediately. For some reason the game has let me put the wheels back on the front again. I'm not sure that'll be touching the ground over the cockpit, but it doesn't seem to matter. The rear wheels are going to be even stupider. We're 6.3. How much do these weigh? So these weigh 1 pound each. And let me just sort of morph those into the cockpit so that counts. I'm assuming 2 is the most optimal thrust, but we can calculate that momentarily. The front wheels are definitely way in the sky. So we built a plane, not a vehicle. I don't know what this is. We built a dolphin, and what a fast dolphin it was. All right, we're going to shorten it up so that the fuselage has disappeared entirely. I mean, I guess that works because these are sitting on the engines now. Oh, I shouldn't have touched that. I think it was sitting on where the fuselage was. Okay, well, we'll go like that though. This will be fast. And it's very fast and not too tippy yet. I wouldn't try and turn, but it's fast. We're already up to 3,300 where it seems to explode. I wish I knew which part of it was exploding. I don't think it's a cockpit because that's built for speed. It might be the wheels. The small rear wheel is the same as the lightweight wheels. It's just even weaker. I am a little bit curious about this though. We're going to try something. Nope, that did not work at all. I could probably put myself back on the ground gently-ish. Nope, that doesn't work one little bit. The game is trying very hard to write this thing, and I'm trying very hard to destroy it. I guess that doesn't make sense, though the most basic wheels probably blow up sooner than anything. I'm just going to go with the retractable rear wheels then. I think I'm going to get a lot of strength. They'll hopefully last just a little longer. That'll look something like that. We're back up to 6.6 weight, which isn't optimal. But I bet this thing will be fast. It's somewhat fast, but it's also hovering, which is no good at all. Out of curiosity, I am going to add a few more of the engines. We're just going to sort of hide them in there. We're going to go back to the lightweight wheels, but we're also going to see if we can sort of, again, hide them. So if we move them just a little there, then they're mostly inside the plane. And the rear wheels, we're also going to sort of suck up in there a little bit. Those will probably touch the ground somewhat. I think it is actually sitting on all 4 wheels. And we have 4 jet engines. Oh, it just takes off at the sky. It's way too much thrust or something. But there's 4,000. Nothing blew up yet. Maybe it doesn't like speed on the ground. Yeah, it seems to not love rubbing against the ground. Like right now I'm at 20% throttle, but I'm also holding full like downforce. And it is doing it, but eventually it hits a hard corner and blows up. So maybe we'll sort of combine our designs. We'll put multiple cockpits on And then it's very aerodynamic, but then it can also be fairly wide and long and stable to hopefully keep itself on the ground. And then we can just do wheels like way out there and wheels way out there, and that's going to keep it very steady. And then it's probably just a little matter of propulsion. So we'll try 3 of those on there since there should be no drag at all from those. The cockpit actually has lots of drag, but we got lots of thrust, so we're already hovering. I don't want to hover. Maybe it needs to be heavy enough so that it just sticks to the ground. But then the heavier it is, the slower it'll be. And if we add more thrust to that, it's going to keep rebalancing the problem. At least I think it is. One way to find out. Okay, can I grab the... Yep, there we go. We're going to add some weight. It is 25. It is now 40. We'll bring it up to, say, 50. And I think that actually works pretty well. Never mind. I was hoping I could stack the engines in behind, but it doesn't... I guess I could tuck them in there, perhaps. This could be a fun design. You tuck the engines inside. That way they're really not creating any drag. The first one catches a little bit, but it's sitting kind of high. That should be fine. This whole thing does weigh 70. Oh yeah, the wheels. The wheels aren't going to love this, but we did make something that seems reasonably fast. Okay, the wheels definitely can't support it, so we could upgrade them or just add more. And we're going to add more because these are so light, it'd be stupid not to. Okay, trying that again. The wheels are holding up because we just basically slapped a whole bunch more on there. We're picking up speed, not as fast as before, but we're staying firmly on the ground. This is topped out at 1672, so it's fast, but not obscenely. But I've got an idea how we can sort of cheat the system if we just elongate our creation. That puts its weight up to 101. We can then fill in the gaps with even more engines. I don't know what I just touched, but it made a bunch of stuff disappear. The game's not super thrilled again with what I'm doing. I was able to Control Z it back into place. I just got to be really careful what I touch. What I wanted to touch was this to narrow it down, to restrict the weight down to 85.2, which actually makes a considerable difference. I think if I grab the front, I can do the same, okay? Not sure why that keeps happening. We'll magic that back into place. We will narrow that down to just a sliver on both sides, so now we're only 60 pounds. Basically a wire frame with a lot of rockets on it. Basically just a bunch of floating rockets, really. But that's the kind of thing we signed up for. So speed is already a lot better. There's 2,000. There's 3,000, 3,300. That's where we're exploding before. Curious it's not happening now, but I think that's because we're more stable maybe. More speed equals more instability, and then obviously if you hit a little bump going 4,000, you're going to explode everywhere. There's 4,400, 4,650, climbing up towards 4,700, but not quickly enough. I think we could do better. So we're going to elongate once again, tuck a few more of these healthy creatures in here somewhere. And by the time it's all filled out, it is 94 pounds all over again. But I'm pretty sure I could just sort of condense that down for some reason. The game lets me do that. It's still 90 actually. I thought it would lose more weight. I guess most of the weight's in the engines at this point. Let's just go ahead and restrict it a little more. 89. That's going to have to be good enough. Oh, now I can actually, you know what? If we take off the other cabs, it's only 87. All the weight is in those engines. And you know what? I think that's probably fine. This thing's probably fast. Is the thrust to weight ratio any different? I'm not sure, but we have more engines. To answer our question, yes, this is a better ratio. We just broke 5,000 on the ground. Okay, there's 6,000 fairly quickly. It's headed for 7,000 within a few seconds. Oh, we're getting some speed wobbles. Not entirely sure why, but we're still continuing speed because physics be damned, we're going places. We hit a wobble and we blew up at about 6,870. Which is really, really fast for a land vehicle. Since weight seems to be what's holding us back, let's go ahead and add some more engines of the lighter variety. And these ones we really can just sort of tuck into each other anyway. We don't really need to do anything too crazy. See, now we got a plane with a massive amount of thrust that only weighs 26.5. I say plane, I mean more like, vehicle. Even from there, we're going to shorten that up a little bit. We might lose stability in doing so, but we did shave quite a bit of weight. It's time for blast off. Okay, obviously quite quick. We're still on the ground for sure. Whoops, I shouldn't have touched the controls. Planes fly better when I'm not touching them. So there's 1,000, 2,000. I don't know if it's as quick yet, but we might have less thrust overall. Oh, this one is definitely less stable. It flips over and rolls at about 4,000. So we're going to elongate. Center of gravity is, I don't know, at about the center. I can't imagine what's wrong with that. So what it probably wants is another ring of engines around. That's a little better. Now there's 2 layers of engines. Not sure where the ones there went. That's odd. But so is our 42-pound rocket car thing. That's pretty quick. I don't know if we're technically flying. We're sort of drifting on our 2 wheels and then we roll over pretty hard. Oh, I think I've actually thought a way to add more stability. I forgot we have the option for wooden struts. So if those go out there, you know what? Let's double down on those. Let's go double struts. And same on the rear. Struts out that way and double struts. They create a bit of drag, but if we put our wheels way out here, this thing might actually be really balanced and it just looks amazing. It's kind of like pontoons. You ever see like kayaks and canoes and stuff? Sometimes they put like another kayak or canoe beside them attached by wood. It's the same principle, except this is a rocket car. It seems pretty fast so far. Okay, it still wants to roll. We need more struts. Okay, we've doubled the struts, we've doubled the wheels. There's no way this can't work. It's perfect. Okay, it pulls really hard to the right for some reason. I don't know why. But I couldn't begin to explain the first thing about this vehicle other than lots of engines and quite a few wheels. I mean, it's fast, but it's not nearly as fast as the other one was. And it's already getting unstable again. These things are so whiny. They hit the littlest bump and then they explode into a trillion pieces. We're going to break things down to go rather simply to how we started this little adventure, but this one's supposed to stay on the ground. It only weighs 2, so it's got a massive amount of thrust. So as long as it stays on the ground and like the wheels and stuff hold together, this might actually be really, really, really fast. It really is basically a bullet with a jet engine on the back. Adding another engine might actually be worth it too, but we're about to break 5,000, so that's promising. Alright, there's 7,000, so that's a new record for us. The game's not loving us at this point. Look at the ground effects. But there's 9,000. We actually broke 10,000 on the ground with wheels. I couldn't do that before with a plane in the air, and we managed to do it with this little thing. It turns out adding another jet engine to this would actually increase the thrust to weight ratio. I might have to do some sketchy things to make it go to where it needs to go though. Basically over there and then down there where it creates little to no drag for me. Okay, and according to my very tired math, another one is still a better ratio because everything is still so light. And more engines again. Maybe it's my tired brain or math not working right, but I think I can actually still add these and it's going to be even better ratio. But let's try that. We have an enormous amount of thrust on 5.1 pounds. Tipping us backwards, so it wants to take off into the sky. We're going to have to put them more front heavy. Yeah, center of gravity's way over here in what we'll call the tail. After sliding them forward, center of gravity is more or less, well, it's in front of the rear wheel, so that's a start. The drag, the engines are poking out just a smidge. They're also really hard to grab a hold of now. That drag we'll pretend doesn't matter. No, does this little rascal stay on the ground? I shouldn't have touched the controls. Okay, just not going to touch anything at all. It seems to be holding stable. It's already at 2,000. There's 3,000. Unstable. I'm going to move the rear wheels back and just place them directly on the jet. And it's hopefully going to give it a little more stability. Okay, it immediately starts flying under this configuration. Now it's bouncing. I don't know why it does this. Maybe center of gravity is still too far back. So we'll move the other wheels forward. Maybe even the rear wheels got to come forward a bit. Keep that center of gravity more in the center. What if we put a single wheel at the rear and try and move these even further forward? Ooh, what if we make like a bicycle configuration? There's no way that's gonna work, is it? It actually does, sort of. Nope. Nope. No, it does not. It did help the center of gravity a bit. I'm not really sure what I could do because I don't want to add a lot of weight. I guess I could try shifting the weight a little bit, bringing these forward. They're going to start to poke through the front, but it's what we got to do at this point. Okay, so let's give that a try. The weight should be fairly far forward. Didn't like that one little bit. Okay, I've added 2 rear wheels again. Center of gravity is a little bit forward, so hopefully this will have it sticking to the ground. Yep, that seems pretty stable. Also pretty quick. There's 3,000 already. Starting to get a bit wobbly, making me nervous, but there's 6,000, 6,900, but at least that's a fun number.